ever before. I think before we go any step further, we ought to acknowledge the parents of Michael Brown Jr., Sister Leslie McSpadden and Brother Michael Brown Sr. Can we stand on our feet and salute them on tonight? Much strength and much courage. Takes much strength and much courage to stand firm and to stand bold and to stand strong, as strong as they have been since August the 9th. They've been played with, they've been toyed with, they had to hear their son's name be ridiculed, drugged through the mud, and all of that. So tonight, what we have all came together to do is we've in no uncertain terms, let it be known that on tomorrow we're going to go out and we're going to exercise the right to vote. We're going to do something that Michael Brown Jr. did not get the opportunity to do, and that is to vote. So what we're doing is we're going to make a bold statement. We're going to make it look like 2008 when we elected President Barack Obama. We came out in droves. So if you got to call somebody, you got to text somebody, you got to Instagram, tweet, Facebook somebody, make sure that they go to the polls. Do not let the rain stop you. If we can do an ice bucket challenge, we ought to be able to do a vote challenge. I don't know about you all, but I am tired of the same mundane, same rundown, same regurgitated stuff that we have been seeing in politics. And so we're making it up in our mind that on tomorrow we want to change history. We want to change it because it is historically it is known that we do not go out and vote in the midterm elections. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop that vicious cycle, and we're going to let politicians know you can't just show up at our church on Sunday mornings, but you got to be down in the trenches with us Monday through Saturday. Don't just show up on Sunday morning in your suit and tell me what you're going to do. But I want to know, do you really have my best interest at heart? So I want to encourage you. I want to encourage all of your friends and your families, but I want everybody to know that on tomorrow we are getting out to vote. Reverend Pearson has already decided that if your hair gets messed up, only if your hair was already done. Don't try to go get a free haircut. I have to give you a disclaimer, Rev. But if your hair is already done and your hair gets messed up, he's going to act like the free car wash people where they'll rewash your car. So if your hair is messed up and you get it messed up, come see Reverend Pearson. But that should not be a reason why you go out to vote. You ought to want to go out to vote because you want to see change happen in our community.
And I want to say to Reverend Pearson, and we want to thank you for opening up your church and making it a center of the struggle. In our history, the church has always been the center of our struggle. And right now, we face a crisis in the churches across America because of the 501c3s, where the 501, you can't do this, you can't do that. But during Martin Luther King's struggle, the church was able to move forward. And sometimes I see what looks like a gift from the government ties the hands of our pastors and our church members because they have to worry about the 501c3. And they make it such a big issue now that sometimes churches are afraid to become the center of the struggle. The most powerful institution in the black community is the black church. And that's a reality of life. It's where we gathered during slavery. We didn't have a building. We gathered under the tree and we preached. And during our struggles, when you look at Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, these were pastors out of the church. Nat Turner fought against the slave master, but the church was the center because we're a spiritual people. I'm a Muslim. The mosque became the center of my life when I was 18 years old, and I grew up in the mosques around the country. But I'm saying to the preachers and those who are deacons and in the church, don't let the government look like they're giving you a gift with a 501c3 and then tie your hands so you can't do what is necessary for the community. The church, the young people in the streets should feel the freedom to meet in a church, to discuss their problems. The church should be open. We should never hear the words, I can't do that because I got a 501c3. And that really bothers me when I hear it all the time. And if you remember when those politicians come around, before we had elected black politicians, they always came to the church on Sunday. And the difference is that they would go to the synagogue, but the Jewish people on their high holy day, the politicians didn't come. They came at a night that they would set a table up and have pads out and write down what they wanted to ask the politicians, not for them to come on a Sunday service at 11 o'clock, wave their hands, say a few words and hope they can get your vote. That's not the way we have to handle these political dynamics. And I want to say this. We've been looking at Ferguson as the epic center of a major change. Son, could you give me that magazine? I'm not promoting, they don't give me no money, but I want you to read the St. Louis magazine. Brother Juma Muhammad emailed me and told me it was an interesting article. I went and picked up the article, and I'm going to challenge, as I said to our young people, that you have to study. That's how generals in war, they study. When they go to West Point, they study battle plans. Some of them are nearly 1,000 years old, but they study what happened, the mistakes that were made. They try to correct them, and they don't throw that away and say that happened 400 years ago. If it worked, why can't we repackage it and work it again? In this magazine, I did not know when I moved to this city how racist this city was. And you got to know how those who settled this city came up from Louisiana and Mississippi, right up the river and settled St. Louis. And the mentality that they had towards black people is highlighted in this magazine. I want you to read it. But you know what's missing from this magazine? They got all kind of voices. And remember, there are people that look for two things. They look for some money on the table and look and stroke their ego by being in the paper on the front of something. If you can put some money on the table, that's it. So we can't forget what the mission is. The mission is justice for the murder of Michael Brown. That's what the mission is. But they will get you off mission. The family wants justice. Justice does not sleep. And when you don't have justice, it can create an imbalance. It can drive you to a point. So when they start condemning, all we want is peace. No, not all we want is peace. We want justice. We want to see this man arrested, Wilson arrested, and convicted, and tried for the murder of Michael Brown. That's what we want. That's what justice looks like. So let me say this. You have to study history. Now, just because history is my passion, it may not be yours. But I want to challenge the young people. You don't have to read a whole book. But when you meet, someone should say, I read 10 pages in this book.
So I'm thankful to Allah for him. I want to thank the pastor because if he said or we say, this church have become a home for us. And I'm a Muslim, but I feel very welcome in this church. And I'm very controversial. This man has opened the doors for me. And the enemy would love us to be divided. That's right. 6 and 1 is 7, 5 and 2 is 7, 3 and 4 is 7, 7 and 0 is 7, 2 divided by 14 is 7, 3 divided by 21 is 7, and 7 divided by 49 is 7. They want to divide us, but whatever way you believe in God, that's your business. Let's not let them divide us. I've been blessed, and I'm so thankful for Brother Pearson, but division is what the enemy wants right now. Right. And I'm going to talk about something that normally I never talk about as a Muslim, and I'm going to get to that about the situation with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm, and how the enemy came in. Now it's known that J. Edgar Hoover killed Malcolm. It's real known. But for years they threw it out there because there was so much division. I learned when my father took me to Egypt. He's been around the world. I have to say something about that. You really don't have a clue who just spoke. You have 189 nations around the world. The members of Akbar Muhammad have been to 160 of 15 or 20 times. He's not no regular person. He opened up for Malcolm X. This is the brother who used to open up for Malcolm. When Malcolm was ready to speak, he would holler out, "Where, Brother Malcolm?" Make it plain. Make it plain. That means, Brother Malcolm, be quiet. It's time for Malcolm to come up. Most people don't know that. So let's give another round of applause for my father. Let's Akbar. We've been rolling together 45 years. That's how long we've been together. So I've been blessed to have so many people behind me. I'm very controversial because I'm not compromising when it comes to black folks. I'm not your boy. work with white folks all the time. I got a lot of white folks that I deal with. But the difference between me and you, I know how to say, I can't be your boy. I start the conversation off like that. I gotta work with you, and don't mind work with you. And love, I got something that I love working with. I gotta make it real plain, I can't be your boy. I know you got some boys, I can't be your boy. And as long as we get that established, we're gonna work together, we're gonna have a good relationship. But if you think I'm gonna be a yo-yo and I'm gonna go up and down when you do your finger, and I'm gonna be one of your head scratching, foot shuffling, back door knocking, Uncle Ben Rice eating, dressed up college picker, you got the wrong person. I'm a free black man. I say what I wanna say, when I wanna say, and how I wanna say. And that's what most people got problems with, Brother Shane. I can't be your boy. Y'all got enough chicken finger licking. We should overcome singing. Keep hope alive. How come we can't be long? Really, Negroes. I can't be your boot licking, butt dancing, butt jumping, butt kissing, butt sniffing, half baked, half fried, pumpkin fried, 55, half fried, tomahawk fried, Negro. I can't be that. But I'm glad we can be friends. I ain't got no problem. And when you set the tone like this, you have a good relationship with them because then they understand you ain't somebody that can just pat on and you can't do that with me. I love this black community. I'm the president of the Tahi Youth Group. And I've worked with brothers around the country. It ain't a group that don't know who Brother Shaheed is. That's why I told him the first day when I was out there, I was first blessed to run into Sister Leslie. I was blessed. And Brother Lewis. And then I got a chance to run into Brother Mike and Sister Cal. And when I seen their pain, and when I seen their son laying down at 4.5 hours, because I didn't know everybody. I knew Eric, but I didn't know everybody, so I was trying to go from here to here. But it was the callousness and how callous they were, letting this brother's body lay on that ground. Now that ticked me off. And see, once I take the gloves off, I'm just telling you, you can't call it back. Well, hold on, we gonna do it. No, you gotta do it this way. When I set the gloves off, I done took my gloves off. It ain't no more playing. You left that brother's body on the ground, and you set that community off. And you brought those dogs out there. Some of y'all have forgotten how to tell them, but I'm just trying to remind you. So that's why I wear the chain. I don't have them on today, but I got on all black. That's how you know I'm a good guy. Because I got on all black. Because you got to break the psychological chain. And when you got on black, and when you come to funerals, you wear black. You got to break the psychological. So that's why I had a chains on. See, the chains is remove psychological slavery. And because they brought us here in slave ships and chains. And because more black men in 189 nations are locked up in America than around the whole world, that's why I wear the chain. I wear the ropes. Why? Because this is not my history. I'm just telling you your history. So I see some of you buck downs, y'all ain't got nerves. Oh boy, that's Shaheed go. Yeah, you're right, that's Shaheed go. But it's gotta be told. Why do I wear the rope? What did Billie Holiday say? Look it up. I didn't bring the song up. She talked about what? No, y'all scared to say that. I didn't bring it up. What did Billie Holiday say? What? Strange fruit hanging from the side. What fruit is she talking about? She's talking about black men and black women that they hung and left their bodies hanging up on the tree. They hung more black women than they did black men. That's why I wear the chains. Why do I wear the black all the time? Because you said when you black, you got to get back. The black cat is bad luck. You came from the black lagoon, everything black. So everything is symbolic. So you got to do that. You got to understand it. But the division that they want to cause between us right now, that's why I used to work with 5-4, 4-4, 6 dudes, GDs, L Rookie folks, King Cobras, Vice Lords. I work with all, it ain't a group out there that don't know who Brother Shaheed is. And one thing they all tell you, he keep it real. And that's what keep people nervous. If you ain't real, you ain't gonna want to be around Brother Shaheed, because I'm gonna say what I want to say. I'm not in the butt kissing business. I ain't gonna do it. I've been around my father too long, and he didn't raise me like that. So I had to hit that piece. I had to hit about human rights because I heard him talk about this. When you leave a person on the ground for 4.5 hours, you don't do dogs like this. You have certain times that you can go deer hunting. You can't shoot deer anytime. You got deer hunting seasons. You got certain times you can go out and deer hunt. But it ain't no time that they're not shooting black males down, and then you want to tell me about a diplomacy way of saying, I ain't got no doggone good way to tell you about shooting black youth down the street. I'm not an apologizing bit. I love my people. And I'm not apologizing for it. I'm not in the apology business to say I'm sorry about what you're doing to us. It's my job to be strong for my black community. And I'm not going to apologize for that. There's a lot of confidence on the Holy Cross on my mama's grave. I'm not going to apologize for being black and loving my black people. This family here, I love the Brown family. I love this family. I wasn't blessed to meet Mike Brown Jr. So I'm not going to tell a lie, but I've seen his family. And I'm telling you what they went through. We as a community have to stand with them. I believe this is the 86th day. And you got to be strong. I think the boycott from Montgomery was 300 and how many days? 381 days. We got to be consistent. You got to be strong, and you can't get tired because they're going to come with all kind of things. And everything going to be where it's going to get you off track. But always through this, what have made me go this long, I have children too. Some of y'all know my children. My oldest daughter is 38 years old. I always think about it was one of my daughters or my sons that was laying on that ground. And if you think like this, you will understand what sister's going through and what my brother's going through. You'll understand it. The reason you don't understand what they're going through, because you kind of casually say, oh yeah, man, I've been right what they've been doing. What show are we going to tonight? Are you going out to the club? No, your mind is on the club tonight because your son is still at home. But if your son was not at home with you and you felt the family's pain or what the family is going through, then you wouldn't feel this way and you would think different.
So here we are in the midterm elections at the ground zero, the epicenter of all the world is watching to see if everybody in America gets equal justice. And we submit to you, these lawyers, that this election ain't about what you did. This election is about your kid. And today is Michael Brown Sr. and Leslie McSpadden kid. But if you don't stand up and you don't go out and vote and change the people in office and make sure we have better police in Ferguson, Missouri, and St. Louis County who respect your life as an American, expect your life as a human being, and expect your rights to walk and breathe the air in America, it will be your kid next.
That's right. That's right.
It will be your kid next. And so this is really about the Fifth Amendment, which is due process. This whole notion that the law and the legal proceedings have to be fair to all parties. Now, I don't think many people, Attorney Gray, doubt that the shooter of Michael Brown Jr. isn't going to get all his constitutional rights bestowed upon him. The real question, and we know it, we live in America and we're being very realistic. The question is Michael Brown Jr., who laid out there dead for 4 hours, Eric, is he going to get his due process? That's what the question is, and that's why we're encouraging you to go out and vote, because we got to make sure that our children get due process. And with that, y'all, we got to question the way they're doing things. You all look at how this grand jury proceeding is taking place, and we got to say, why? When they charged my cousin, when they charged my brother, when they charged my sister, they didn't get treated like this by Mr. McConnell. So why is it that when the shooter Michael Brown Jr. held in judgment, it's a whole different set of laws when our children dead on the ground? And so, y'all, all we're saying is we want equal justice too for our children. Nothing more, nothing less. And lastly, before Attorney Powell-Lex and Attorney Gray give brief remarks, yeah, we have to have a legacy go out in the history books and the annals of time that Michael Brown did exist, that Michael Brown's life did matter, that Ferguson stood up as an example for all, not just America, but all the world, when a child was executed in broad daylight, that they would not look away, and that we will
make the world respect Michael Brown. Now, the way we do that is by voting, so we will get the Michael Brown law passed, not only in Ferguson and St. Louis, but all over America. This simple concept that everybody will remember Michael Brown's name, because every police officer from now on will have to have a video body camera. And every time they have an interaction with anybody, that video has to come on. So we won't have to be going through this tragedy in this way, Leslie. We won't have to go into this tragedy this way, Mike. We can say, no, it's transparent because of the Michael Brown law, and no other family has to go through what y'all are going through, because we just say, turn on the video. And we can say, you don't have to say no more, just show us the video. And if they don't have that video on, Attorney Gray, we gonna take it that you guilty. We just gonna, we call it in the law a rebuttable presumption. This Michael Brown law that we propose is very simple, it's straightforward. It is video cameras when you have interactions with people, and if you kill them and you don't have the video on, there's a rebuttable presumption that you did something wrong.
Right.
Hands up and vote! Hands up and vote! Hands up and vote! Let Michael hear you! Hands up and vote! Thank you! Y'all give a big round of applause for Attorney Carol Powell Lexus, all the way from Louisiana.
Thank you. Good evening, Ferguson. Hands up and vote. Let me tell you, we did see everybody around here marching and protesting. You all sent a very strong message with your marching and protesting, but you must continue to be purposeful in your actions by getting out to vote tomorrow. One of the things you need to do, Ferguson, you need to send the memo out that it is a new day for Ferguson, because you're going to get out and vote tomorrow. When you get out to vote tomorrow, you are sending a strong message to not only the people here, but throughout the country, that you want a community that's going to respect your community. You want a new leadership that's going to respect your community. You want a police department that's going to serve the community and not antagonize the community. You want to obtain our young men being able to walk in the street with their heads up and not be afraid to be gunned down. That's the message that you will send out when you step out and you vote tomorrow. You want to send a strong message to the DA, even though I just heard he may have gotten in unopposed. You still can send a strong message to him that we want equal justice, and we will settle for nothing no less than equal justice. We will send a strong message to the DA if he does have another 4 years, that we're not going to tolerate you picking and choosing who you're going to prosecute, when you want to prosecute, and treat us any kind of way.
Yeah, let me just add one thing onto that. The Bob McCullough has gone on record as stating that he's going to present all of the evidence to this particular grand jury, and I think his statement was he's going to let them decide it. And I want to tie that into this rally. If he had an opponent right now, if somebody was interested in running and we had this rally before the candidacy filing date was closed, he would have never made that statement. Absolutely. Never. So that goes to show you why voting is so important. Let me tell you why. Because look at what he's saying. Now, I'm the lawyer and I'm the prosecutor, but I'm going to give it to these 12 people who've never been to law school, and I'm going to let them figure out. The question was, what are they arguing? I'm going to let them figure out what cases and what charge to make, if they make any. I will help guide them. It is the most idiotic thing I ever heard a prosecutor make, and because we are late on the scene talking about voting, he's getting away with it. But I'm hoping this movement will prevent that from happening in the future. The other thing I would say about that is that now to back it up, he says, well, and what I'm going to do, if the grand jury doesn't decide the way we want, I'll present to the world everything that they saw. I'll let you see all of the evidence there. That like we'll be satisfied with that, right? And it sounds so good and it tickles the ear a little bit to go, okay, we get a chance to see all the evidence. Okay, fine. I get a chance to see what you present, but I don't get a chance to hear how you presented it, which makes all the difference in the world, right? I don't get a chance to hear the inflection in your voice when you put this evidence out there. I don't get to hear the emphasis you make when you put that witness on the stand. So I get a chance to see the evidence, but I don't get a chance to hear it. And so this whole process is a farce. So the bottom line of your question is we have no idea at the end of the day what this prosecutor is going to advocate that Darren Wilson be charged with. Or at least just going to say, look, you guys got all the evidence, you make up your mind since you guys are the legal minds in this room, which is absolutely absurd.